Good. I guess so. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Wrapping up scrimmage number 2. Every first, second team, and some of the third team guys getting on average about 50 snaps apiece. Most of it live ball. Towards the end, we went thud because that's what we do sometimes during our 2-minute drill. But just working a lot of situations, everything from the typical stuff that we do, playing football, then getting down the red zone, working some third down situations, working some stuff in 4-minute and 2-minute again, ending with 2-minute, and just making it really, really competitive. But certainly the level of competition, the level of physicality, we have improved in certain areas. A lot of focus on our coverage teams, on special teams. Felt like we made some improvement in that area as well. All in all, just a really good practice. A lot of development and a lot of guys getting a lot of snaps, which we need for this coming season. So questions, please.
Oh, first question, Matt Preem, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Mario, after the first scrimmage, you talked about how you wanted better execution, better overall play from your unit in the 2-minute. How did they do this time around, second time of 2-minute drill?
It's back better. I think that, football really, a lot of it comes down to how you play the next play, right? You finish what you're doing, you finish that play, you go on to the next play. And a lot of guys that have played ball have to just continue developing, pushing, encouraging guys that haven't played a lot of ball. When say you got a penalty and you're in 1st and 15 and your own 33 and you got minutes something on the clock, well, that happened today. So what are you going to actually do? And if you're focused on the penalty, if you're focused on getting blasted by the media, your people, or some other folks out there, instead of focusing on, all right, my assignment, here's a signal, here's a formation, here's a play, here's a snap count. That's where the separation, becomes really, really just clear in terms of who's moving up and who still needs work who still has work to do. And we saw that today. We saw growth in that department today. And we also acknowledge that that's an area that requires work, because sitting in these nice rooms and talking about it and some cool temperatures isn't going to cut it. We got to keep throwing these situations at our guys, and today, there were some random flags that were thrown on purpose, just to see what type of reaction there was going to be, and to see, all right, who was going to bring a sense of calm and composure while at the same time some fire and juice to move on and make a play. So all that stuff and more today.
Ryan Thorburn, register guard.
Mario, after last Saturday, when you kind of acknowledged that for that day the offense was a step ahead, did you see a good counterpunch by the defense? And have you seen that back and forth consistently that good teams have during?
Yeah, early the counterpunch was a strong one, like a Tyson left hook is what it was. Defense came out first 3 series and it was hard. It was hard to move the football. They made some big plays, forced some turnovers. Verone had a phenomenal interception just coming off the hash and tracked one down. Spectacular football play, eye discipline, angle, and then just athleticism, just going up and making something happen. And then after that, it got really competitive. Both sides started trading shots. Some explosive plays, made some negative plays, forced, hung onto the ball better. It's been a huge point of emphasis, just making sure that ball security is at a premium. And placed a lot of guys that had been working with the 2s with the 1s, and some of the other guys that were with the 3s working with the 2s. So, yeah, it was. It's exactly what the course that you want to take. We saw that today, and we just got to keep improving and stay at it.
James Crepia, Oregonian.
Mario, in terms of the quarterback rotation, did Anthony continue to take all the first team reps? And with the younger guys, did Robbie get a chance this week since he was a little bit limited last week?
Yeah, Robbie did. Robbie was healthy this week. Anthony took the reps with the 1s today, like he's been doing all along. And then the 2s, they all had their moments. So it's hard to say, all right, this guy's separating more than the other guy. They all had their moments, both good, and then other moments where they need to learn from. But Robbie was part of the rotation, and they all got even reps.
Matt Preem.
How has a receiver in that competition played out? I know you've got some older guys and Johnny and Jalen, but then you've also got some really young guys too that are different body types. How's that gone, you feel like?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'd highlighted those guys to talk about them. I didn't want to miss those guys today because, the older guys have been great. The older guys have done a really, really good job just making plays, pushing the tempo, just enforcing the culture in a big-time way. but we've also had some guys go out there and we've put them in situations we want to test them. Can they make plays in certain situations? And a couple guys got to be pointed out. Number one, Isaiah Crocker today made some unbelievable plays and has had a really good spring. So there's a lot to look forward to in him. Chris Hudson today made several big plays and explosive plays and made guys miss. And his blocking is improving. You know, I was messing with him about his blocking. You know, I told him I'm going to have him start meeting with Coach Mirabal on the offensive line on occasion to make sure he gets his, you know, half placement where it needs to be. Troy and Dante have had really good springs. So those guys, we're counting on those guys to make a significant contribution this year. Go right down the line. There's a lot, you know. Micah Pittman has had a great spring. Micah has really, we move him around a lot. Micah's a smart guy. You can put him in different spots. Devin Williams continues to make big plays. All in all, just Coach McClendon has really made an impact in that room, and those guys are bought in, working hard. A lot of explosive plays by those guys.
James Crepia.
Mario, on 2 corners who seem to be on the rise. Obviously, DJ was a backup for you last year, came with some big plays late in the season, but looks to be in line for a pretty big step up. And everything in talking to Rod sounds pretty good on him. And on Triquez, and just the surprising spring that he's having in a big positive way after redshirting, developing, starting off at safety, and just the spring that he's having so far.
Yeah, Quez has been, you know, not a surprise to us, but the development that he's had has been just significant. It's been really strong. He's always been a big guy, longer guy who's played safety, played receiver. His transition to corner, that's just an excellent move for him and for us. He understands the position, understands leverage, has got really good hips, good balance and body control. And, you know, he's consistently been in the high 21s and low 22s. So he's a guy that could really run, covers a lot of ground, plays the ball really well, great ball skills. DJ has been outstanding. He really has. We all knew about Mikkel. Mikkel continues to have a great camp. But DJ James is, you know, he's a bigger guy than what you would think. And he's a 6'1.5", 6'1" guy that could run, can bend, come out of his hips. He could play the boundary. He could play the field, can play man coverage, drop back there in zone, run the alley, make plays, you know, get guys on the ground. So I know you had mentioned a bunch of guys, but, you know, those guys really, you know, Dante Manning, Jalen Davies, gosh, we're very proud of the way those guys are coming along. They all know we have a lot of work that we have to do. They understand the importance too of continuing to change their bodies. We're on those guys all the time about when you're a DB, the amount of running that you have to do in practice and on special teams. It's an incredible amount of yardage that they cover. And to be really good, you've got to be able to do it every single day. And to do it every single day, you got to take care of your body, put the right stuff in it, recover, all that. And they're buying in. You know, those bodies are changing. The mentality is getting better and better. So proud of those guys.
Ryan Thorburn.
A little bit off topic, Mario, but the FCS playoffs are going on, and the College Playoff Football Committee, I guess, looked at 63 different playoff formats. I mean, is there a perfect playoff in your world? Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, yeah, I do. For another day, right? You know, for another day, we'll get together on that one. Yeah, you know, opportunity, man. I think they have a really good answer. The way they do it is really well. I mean, it's really well thought out, planned, orchestrated. So I think, you know, I'll think about that one. I'll think about that one. We'll have a better answer for you next time.
Matt Preem.
Tight end Spencer Webb and Patrick Herbert were guys that there was a lot of excitement about both of them last year, and they had their injuries that couldn't play. And just how you feel like their development has come along through spring, and just are they getting reps with the ones?
Absolutely. They both are getting reps with the ones, and they're both doing really well. They're both throwing themselves in there, which was always what you want a tight end to do, right? The biggest and hardest transition for a tight end from high school to college is being able to do something at the line of scrimmage. Trying to be a C area blocker, a C area gap control guy is a tall task, especially when you don't do it much in high school. And it requires a lot. It requires development in the weight room. It requires ungodly amount of reps. It requires dealing with myself being up and down the field all over those guys about that particular area. And Coach Bobby Williams has done a really good job getting those guys just really well taught, focused on technique and fundamentals as it relates to that. Now, that being said, the offense is now much more expanded than it was a year ago. We didn't have a spring. We had a short camp. Their involvement has been pretty significant, and they have both made plays, as well as the other young guys as well, both Terrence and Maliki. So, but it was great to see Patrick bounce back, because Patrick was a guy that we all know is going to be a really good football player. And you could coach him hard. You could coach him hard, and he responds, and he's continued to develop and grow. And Spence, losing him last year was something that really hurt us offensively. And so it's good to see him have a really good spring as well. Both those guys have done really well.
James?
With 4 practices this week, Mario, and obviously ending on the spring game next week, just what is the plan for each day this week, and what do you want to see in terms of further development and areas to address?
Yeah, we'll be full throttle. We will. Tuesday, Thursday will be a typical Tuesday and Thursday spring practice. But that, I mean, we'll be in pads. We'll be in full gear. We'll be working, team run and play action periods. We'll work probably a force period, get the ball in the perimeter, both in the form of a toss, screens, some of our boots and wags, work some of that stuff. We'll get in a heavy third down and red zone play, make that competitive. We'll probably do another shot of 4-minute, 2-minute, and an overtime period. 2-minute will be worked every single day. Aside from that, we will present situations, end of game situations, 13 seconds ball on, 24-yard line, need a touchdown, stuff like that. Just throw those things at them. Present it to them in a meeting, talk to them about what we were looking for. What are the big do nots, right? A lot of times you'll lose games more than you'll win them by just not, different situations and the things that they present with them. So we'll be doing all that stuff all week. And then on Friday, Friday will be more of a walkthrough to make sure that we are very well organized for the spring game on Saturday.
Time for 2 more. Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated.
Yeah, Coach, how about injury-wise or health-wise? How's things after the scrimmage, and how's it looking for some guys maybe coming back?
Okay. Today was good. It was a healthy day for us. We feel fortunate that we've been able to get a high quality, high levels of work done without suffering anything significant. And the guys are being really good. When we go full live tackling, we've done that, and we've improved the way we've tackled. We feel like we're getting the right kind of work there. And when we've gone our thud periods, which is full speed but staying up, nobody tackled to the ground, just our improved athleticism helps us practice and not go to the ground. And that is, I can't emphasize how important that is, and how an off season is tied into that, because guys that probably came in underdeveloped or not strong enough or not have enough balance and body control, they end up on the ground. When guys end up on the ground, guys get hurt. And so we're learning how to practice a lot better. Still got a ways to go, but certainly improving.
Last question, James Crepia.
Mario, you guys were always really aggressive in terms of satellite camps in campus, and used 9 days off campus before. Years ago, it was viewed as kind of gimmicky with what other schools did in that regard, or, oh, well, maybe they were trying to establish something, but everybody was, okay. But is it not almost more, again, you guys were always really aggressive. Is it not almost more important this year, particularly, to be that way? Because after 15 months of a dead period, these could be really instrumental this year. I mean, it always was for you, but this could be really big this summer, this June.
Yeah. Well, some of them are, and some of them may not. Depends who's going to be where at each locale specifically. I think it's also important to note that the rules have changed where unofficial visitors, they can actually participate in, a camp-like regiment on your campus as well, so that you do get to find out things that you want to know about a player, not just from a spec standpoint or from a numbers and whatnot standpoint, but how a player responds to coaching, right? There's a lot of things that you can do now that are certainly different, but you want to get out there. You're also scrunched with the fact that you have official visits in June. So where is the balance? Like, who can go out, who has to stay back? And the calendar changes every day. I'm sure you see it, right? On social media, 14 camps pop on there every single day, and your original plans got to change. So there's a lot of juggling going on. May's, and set in stone, because you really got to get a lot of your opponent work done in the month of May, because you really don't know exactly what June is going to look like. We'll use we'll find a way to use our days. You know, we'll find a way to use them. And certainly, like you mentioned, getting your eyes and in-person evaluations are always going to be the most critical, the most important thing in trying to decide who fits your program, who fits what you're trying to do, and who you end up, taking in terms of your class.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Hey, guys.